Hello everyone, so today we are going to be making a project for ocean animals. So in the kit that you're going to get, you are going to receive this watercolor kit. You're going to also get a couple animal figurines. And you're going to get a mini tube of Gorilla Glue. You're also going to have one sheet of watercolor paper. And I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing with all of these. But first let's talk about ocean animals. So, marine biology is a very vast field full of all of these different kinds of animals, right? There's lots of kinds of animals in the ocean. In fact, so much of the ocean is unexplored by us. There's so much that we don't know. So let's talk about a couple animals. So first, we have in your kit, you're going to get a lot of like fish, and a lot of sharks, and a lot of whales. And these are animals that we kind of know stuff about, so I'm not really going to focus on these today. Today we're going to focus on some stars, literally, some stars of the ocean that we don't hear that much about. So this over here is a starfish, or scientists prefer to call it a sea star because it's not really a fish. So sea stars, they cling to rocks with their sticky feet, and then water flows through their head, and then they pump it because they are stuck to rocks. In order to move, they pump the water into the suction parts, and then they're able to crawl. Now, what do starfish eat? Starfish eat limpets, which are like small, they're similar to mollusks. Mollusks are a type of creature in the ocean. And sometimes fish will come and want to nibble on the starfish, but the starfish will do a somersault to protect itself, and then because of how spiny it is, the fish is not going to want to eat it. So that's starfish. Now, another type of ocean creatures are sponges, worms, and mollusks. That's right, there are worms everywhere. There are literally worms everywhere. There are worms in your garden, there are worms in the ocean. And then there are mollusks and snails and other things that just crawl on the ocean floor. These help the environment because they put either bacteria and stuff, or they are also food for some creatures like starfish. But that is sea worms and mollusks. Now you might have noticed that this one has a shell on it, right? Well, that's where seashells come from. Seashells are the outside skeleton of some sea animals. They protect because this little slug right here has a really soft body. There's no way for protection. But a seashell is made, kind of like our bones are made of calcium, seashells are made of calcium. And they protect the whatever animal is inside over here. This is a scallop shell. But there are a bunch of different kinds of seashells in the ocean. So another pretty cool ocean animal is octopuses, right? Octopuses, they hide from attackers because they have cells that help them turn the color of their environment. So they're kind of like the chameleons of the ocean. They spend they spend a lot of time when they're looking for food. They shoot ink, and that's octopuses. Now we're going to look at some mammals. So this over here is a walrus, and this over here is a sea lion. The biggest difference is a walrus has teeth, a sea lion does not have those. Walruses spend their time feeding in the water, but they spend a lot of their time just hanging out on the ice. Now, the ocean is very beautiful. Like, you've seen videos of the ocean. Sometimes it looks just blue, and it's just this vast expanse of blue. And sometimes it's kind of just like a forest on the ocean floor. There's all sorts of plants in the ocean. There's coral reefs, there's like seaweed, there's sea grass. And these are part of the things that you're going to be getting in your kit that you can make your project with. Another thing in the ocean is that there's some very creepy, weird things going on in the ocean. And what do I mean by that? There are lots of, you might have heard the term bioluminescence. Now, bioluminescence is when something can glow in the dark because of chemicals in its body. jellyfish are a lot like that, but there are also a lot of fish that have bioluminescence. If you've seen Finding Nemo, you might remember the fish with the little light bulb, and those are in very, very deep parts of the ocean. There's some weird, creepy things about the ocean, which is kind of cool. There are, as you might expect, turtles in the ocean. Turtles, unlike turtles on land, turtles in the ocean are actually pretty fast because they swim. We got a couple more. So now, I mentioned coral reefs, right? Now, coral reefs are home to so many different kinds of animals. You have a seahorse, you have a sea dragon. So, sea dragon is the one with these little things on it. And you also have lots of different crabs. So when you're making, because we're going to be making collages, when you're making your collage, kind of think about where does this specific animal like to live? Who does it like to live with? What does it eat? Alright, so next we have these guys. We have dolphins. Dolphins are usually mistaken to be fish, but they're not fish. Dolphins swim with their tails going up and down, whereas fish swim with their tails going like that. Dolphins also breathe oxygen. They breathe, that's why they come up and they get their air and then they go back down. And dolphins also, they make echoes. So in order to talk to each other, they actually make echoes so that they can feel through those echoes and the vibrations where different things in their environment are, where their families are. So that's dolphins. We also have manatees. Manatees are actually endangered. They live in primarily warmer areas, but because of the ocean changing with pollution, manatees are among some of the many ocean animals that are actually suffering. But we have a manatee, and they live in places like the Amazon, where it's very green and very sunny. So that's manatees. Now, the last of the ocean animals that we're going to be looking at are eels. And eels are pretty cool because they're usually around all parts of the ocean. And again, eels and sea urchins are usually in the same place. Sea urchins have these little spines to protect them from eels, but eels still eat them sometimes. Alright, so that is some facts on animals. Now, what are you going to do with that? You're going to use that to make your very own collage, like I did over here. So I used watercolors and I made a collage using these. So I had a stingray. Stingrays like lots of open water, so I gave them that. I had two different kinds of fish. So there's one over here that I put in water. I kind of put it in the seagrass so that it's hiding there. There's another fish over here, and this fish is just kind of hanging out. I was thinking about coral reefs and the sun and all that when I put this together. So I want you to do that. Whatever animals that you have, use your imagination to think about where that animal would like to live, and then use it to create with watercolors. So a couple things about how you're going to do that. You have your watercolor paper, and then the only thing you need to get is just something with water in it. Now I'm going to show you something that makes it easier to paint with watercolors. Watercolors are not like other paints where you can just take one and like that. With watercolors, you have you can take some water and then wet it in there and then do that. See how it's super light? You just have to keep on going with it. There we go. And now, because of the way watercolors work, it doesn't work for me to keep on dipping and keep on painting. So something that also works, if you get some water and put it directly on the paper and spread it out like that. See that? And then you get that really cool effect of it looking, well, like a watercolor. Alright, well, I hope you have lots of fun making your collage. Oh, one last thing. So, in order to get these animals onto the paper, that's what the Gorilla Glue is for. So your Gorilla Glue, you're just going to get a little bit, and then take it onto whatever animal that you want to put, and then just glue across the bottom, and then stick it on the paper. Gorilla Glue takes about an hour to dry, so when you're painting, make sure you don't knock it over while it's drying. Alright, so that's all I have. I hope you enjoy making ocean animals.